Hi, everyone. You're a lucky generation indeed. The world is open for you. Explore where you want to go. Find out which part of the world is really your dream destination. Are you thinking research? Are you thinking finance? Maybe you want to be the next master chef, the best filmmaker, the researcher, the scientist, the actuary, or maybe just a liberal arts, doing music, exploring international relations, whatever you want to do, the world has to offer you. And we are here to help you reach there. What maybe when you have lot of questions, choices can confuse you. And to sort that confusion as to which is the right place for you is where we, the counselors at Edu Abroad, with a great team of Manvi, Sonam, Mundra, and many experts from around the world, whose voices we bring you to answer questions. What is it like living in Vancouver? Will I really get a job? Is it too cold for me? What are my best choices? Do I have flexibility to study what I want? Or should I go to Netherlands? Should I go to Amsterdam? Is Europe better for me? What is the difference between the countries? Is education really the difference? The world is indeed your oyster. You can pick up the map. Reach out to us. Start a conversation, and we will help you reach your dream destination. Thank you all for being part of this wonderful evening where we are gathered here to answer some questions, maybe share some information, and we will allow you to lead through your questions. We are here to answer. Manvi, the director Edu Abroad, who's known to be helping so many students across so many years, we bring you the two voices, the old, me, I'm old, with 35 years, and Manvi, the young voice. And between us, we hope today to share and start this journey of career planning together. Let us see what questions there are. You can type in your questions in the chat box and let us know how you want to proceed. Manvi, over to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to share career advice with all the students. We have Dr. Jain with us with over 30 years of experience. I think she is one of the person who has been have guided lakhs of students to study abroad. And not only, I mean, she is a person I look up to for genuine advice. Like she'll tell you on your face, okay, study in India, study abroad, you can get a scholarship, you cannot. So she is a person that I have always looked up to and I've learned from. So thank you, Dr. Jain, for being a guiding light in my life and in so many other people's lives. So today we will talk about new age careers. We'll talk about, before actually we start talking about anything related to careers, we have a short survey or a poll for you. Vineet, if you can share that in the chat. We would like to know from you, what are you looking at? What is your area of concern and how we can help you going further? And I would definitely like to thank Ms. Kiran Sharma and DPS Varanasi, the entire team, for allowing us to, do this seminar with you guys. So I think my colleague has shared the survey. If all of you can take a minute to fill up this form so that then we can display the results of the survey in the seminar itself and understand what is the requirement or what is the need of all these students today. So whoever is filling up the form can put a thumbs up so that we know that most of you are done with it.
Okay, great, Pratishtha. It's good to see some people bright and awake and helping and reacting, because the more we can hear your voices, the better for us. We make it more and more interactive. While we are waiting, if anybody has a burning question to ask, I would love to hear your voice and see you on the screen.
So actually, we have a question. In fact, few of the students had emailed us questions too. So in the meantime, we are waiting. I think I'll ask those questions to you, Dr. Jain. So
Yes.
one of the, I had a very interesting question here. Should a topper only think of studying in abroad, or an average scorer can also think of studying abroad? What would you have to that?
To answer that question, I must go back to the first basic fundamental. Why do you want to study abroad at all? To that extent, India offers every single course that you may think of. Now we are no longer even cubicle, we are no longer boxed courses. So the young modern universities are actually offering you everything you want to learn. So the main thing comes about, why are you even thinking? So from many perspectives, it is to get a diversity of opinion. It is to understand how the cultures think, how do different people of the world solve problems. It is to open your mind to new thoughts. We keep telling you as a young generation, Arey, think out of the box, be creative, try and bring something new to the table. How can you do that unless you're exposed to new things? So it's more like an exploration of new ideas, which is why it is important to really understand that everyone can go. It's not about marks. Yes, that may determine the university you go to, but that doesn't change your experience. So if you're going for the experience of it all, then yes, every single student can aspire to go. It's not about marks so much as why you are going. And also, I think to that extent, India is over competitive. At a DU or Delhi University, we look at 99 point something for a decent college, whereas at most international universities, anything above 80 should still get you into a top 30 university. And your experiences that you get, the diversity on campus, opportunities to learn different things, opportunity to learn from different people, that is the main reason to go. And each one, no matter where they've gone, my students have loved it.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jain. We have another question here. So the students say that really want to be an artist, and where can I pursue my undergraduate degree? Should I study in India or abroad?
Now, artist has many definitions. Is it fine art? Is it filmmaker? What kind of artist do you want to become? Again, I've been a professor at an Indian university for too long to say, oh, you should go abroad. Going abroad is an option which must be weighed against several possible options. There is no compulsion to go at all. If you are willing to because art is, I think, learned through experience, through observation, just through practice. So you could probably join an art college here and go every summer, travel through Europe. It all depends on your budget. It depends why you want to go and what is it that you're looking out for when you say, I want to go abroad. Everything India can teach you. So when you weigh the balance, it has to be the why. The why has to be most critical in your final decision. And there are no shortcuts to that why. There is a lot of thought process, lot of questions you will ask, lot of research we will give you before you arrive at the final decision. Yes, I think it's a good thing for me to go. So each one to his own. I have students of the same family, two siblings who are completely different. One should go and one should not go. So it is a completely individual perception, not dependent on the course you want to study, more dependent, I think, on the parents' vision, family vision, and possibly the budget.
Perfect. Thank you so much. That was, I think that brought us a lot of clarity. There's another question here. Is it's good to study medical abroad? Shivika is asking that. Yeah.
Well, purely from the cost of it all, I think India, because India is probably the most cost effective. You may not think it from Indian terms, it still looks expensive, but it is a very merit based application and the most cost effective education in the world where medical is concerned. And secondly, what it also does for you is keeps it open in terms of what is it that different countries want. And East Europe is probably the only other cost effective destination. But largely, most universities around the world have different criteria. And so you have to decide again why you want to go, because the clinical experience that Indian doctors get during the residency is supposed to be completely unmatched. So you get a lot of hands-on experience because you simply deal with too many patients here, and which is not a good thing. But in terms of, yes, it is India, but it's a good thing for the doctors because you get to see so many variations of the same symptom.
Right. Thank you. So I think we can share the results of the poll with them. Okay. So as per, if you can see from 23 students who filled in, so I think most students feel that, US is the place they would like to study.
Yeah.
Right. And also 52% of them feel, extracurricular and co-curricular activities are good for application. So Dr. Jain, I would like you to throw a light when we talk further about careers and studying abroad, that how important are extracurricular and co-curricular about, in an application. Also,
Yeah.
do you need writing enhancement program for your essays and applications? So basically 43% say yes and 52% say maybe. So that means almost like, it's hardly any percentage that says no. So how actually, even I would like to ask you, how important is, writing your essays in the application? How important part do they, what important role do they play? And also, I think some students say that, they need help with country selection, country course, scholarships. So I'm sure that you're covering a little bit about everything, in further as we go ahead, that how to actually look into course and country selection and, which countries offer scholarships and maybe not. And also, so this is like, so right now we will be doing a series of seminars with you every month, or, twice in a month we'll be coming up with a seminar. And these are, I think, job opportunities and career prospects is something most of them are looking at. What exactly are the career prospects after studying in India or studying abroad? I think that is what we are looking at, everyone, return on investment. So if you can throw some more light upon that too, so that will be really helpful for us.
Yeah. So to summarize, I think one, country selection; two, what is the role of essays and can we be guided on that; three, how important are extracurriculars; and fourth, what is the jobs or work visas after I graduate. So that's
Right.
the four things I should cover. Okay, so that gives me an idea what I should, focus on, and
Right.
seminar can be meaningful for you all. Great. So let me know when to start, Manvi.
I think we can start right away.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Just give me a second. So let me begin by saying that in this particular session, we are going to focus more on international, because we can have an entire session only on India, because India has many more options beyond just Delhi University, Bombay University, and others. So we will keep you in touch. This session, I'm focusing on international, and as per the demand, we will keep giving you more and more choices. Uh, so the first thing, yes, you have a lot of choices. India, United States, and like you all said, USA still remains an important priority for most of us, because for so many years people have been going to US. All of us probably have known a family and friends who've gone there, settled there, have great lives, and so we have role models before us. So therefore, it is always the destination of choice. However, one of the questions asked was, if I want to study engineering, is there a priority? If I want to study medicine, or actually all countries, including India, I keep adding that, offer everything of everything. So your choice can probably be dictated by what is the cost of education, what is your budget, do you want flexibility of choice. For example, Canada, US give you more flexibility to choose and make a decision right towards maybe second year or third year. United Kingdom, Europe, Singapore, Hong Kong are more rigid. You have to make a choice before you enter those countries. So maybe flexibility is important. How many countries are present on that campus? What is the diversity? Again, the most important question that came up in the poll: what is the work visa? Am I allowed to study there and work for a couple of years? Or no, I'm looking at an education and studying long term, staying there long term. So, scope of employment. Now, all these can be the criteria of selecting the country, and those have really changed. So, in the past, US offered all of it. We never really looked at a country beyond US and UK, because it met all our needs for location, for budget, for range of universities, campus settings, types. It met all of us. But today, it's not sometimes meeting the work visa question. So if work is important to you, short-term work, almost every country in the world will give you. But if you are looking at long term, then maybe the countries have changed. So think about it. You should apply at this stage. I think keep in mind that politics of the world is changing too fast. Even as we speak, elections are happening in US. Policies could change when you go, and policies could change when you exit. So it's at this stage when we are talking to students, we advise that when you're preparing your resume, when you're preparing mentally, academically, and in all other ways your resume for an application, keep in mind all countries. Don't at this point get fixated on anyone, because currently, as I'm talking to you, and a latest news report of yesterday actually verifies it, the work visas are emerging as an important criteria that your polls also showed. So currently, as I'm speaking, Canada, Australia, New Zealand are probably seen as more supportive if you want to stay long term. But if you want a great education and you're happy to come back after a couple of years of experience, then the whole world is open to you. So as I said, no short answers, no quick fix solutions. And that's why you need us, right? That's why we are counselors. So check the skill shortage in the country you want to go, talk to people there. And if possible, when things are better next summer, since you still have time, try and visit that country, because each to his own. What I love about New Zealand and its environment, and they're looking at a 4-day work week, may not suit you. Maybe you prefer Canada, with its more cosmopolitan flavor of things. So each to his own. Sometimes if you talk to people or even visit that country, it's a better thing than just allowing us or other people to make that decision for you. Once you've selected your country or countries for the application, then within that, we can help you select the university. Now, again, it can be based on your location, cost, what works for you. So, this is the time when you should actually discuss, debate, deliberate with us, deliberate with your family, with everybody you can think of. Decide the budget. That's very important. We live in a rose world thinking that, oh, we everybody will get a scholarship. There are scholarships, but who will get it? The scholar gets the ship. So you have to understand it's marks, marks, and marks. Ninth, 10th, and 11th, and 12th predicted. After that, they seem to be looking at superhuman beings. Then they want some kind of leadership, some kind of research excellence. So there is a lot to say about resume building. So if you really are serious and you really want, we can help you. We can help you identify what is it that makes for a good resume. Again, there are no shortcuts. There are a lot of choices. We customize it. We speak to you, understand what interests you, because we don't want Sunday morning to be torture for you with your parents waking you up. No, no, you must go and teach maths at Akanksha. Not necessary. There are many things. Maybe you're interested in sports, in dance, in music, in theater, in creative writing, in fine arts. There are so many ways you can build your talent and through that talent serve the community. So it's important to have those conversations. That somebody said extracurriculars are important. Yes, but the big but is extracurriculars a complement to your transcript. They do not replace the mark sheet in any country. And don't go overboard. Identify your strengths. Identify what makes you a well-rounded personality. You don't have to be an exact replica of your neighbor who went last year. You're a different human being. You may have different interests. So if you develop your resume, and we'll help you do that around your interests, what makes you happy? What are your special talents? Then you don't mind giving that extra weekend or putting those extra hours after school to do something. Because if you love it, you enjoy that whole process, and we can help you go that extra mile, that it shows the workshop, the seminars, the internships lead up to a versatile personality. Maybe you become a leader, maybe you do a startup. Everything is welcome. There is nothing carved in gold, there's nothing carved in stone that, oh, my friend who went last year did polo and swimming and went mountain climbing, so I must do exactly the same three things. You could be completely different. As long as you have great academics, I think in the poll, the only thing I disagree with that extracurriculars are the main criteria. I would still say it is 60 to 70% academics of 9, 10th, and 11th. There is no compromise on that. And then 20% on the extracurriculars that you enjoy. You don't need 20 things. Do 5 or 6 things that you really like and you enjoy. And maybe a couple of areas in that where you take leadership or you excel. Obviously, you can't get medals in everything. So that, I hope, answers that poll question on how important is it to do extracurriculars. I hope, Kiran ma'am, you agree with me to say that, uh, and the school management who's here, we are very happy to be allowed, but don't think that we are just following it's to do with you're going in for an academic program. A university is an academic space, and therefore that's what it values. But it does value an all-round person as well. So there
Yes, of course, ma'am. I resonate with your words. That's actually true.
Yes, thank you so much, ma'am, because I think that we are all going overboard on these extracurriculars at the cost of academics. And I belong to a very, professional professor academic family. So I think we somewhere we need a balance.
That's true.
So I'll go over and quickly cover the different countries since United States was the primary target, and most of you are looking at, I think, the large majority thought of USA. So let me tell you what it needs. Academics again, 9, 10, 11, 12, any one mark sheet, SAT or
Funny sometimes, yeah.
and TOEFL or IELTS. You don't have to do both. They're simply tests to prove that you can read, write, speak English. And being Indians, we are, native English speakers. But as a passport, they feel that we need to prove it. But it's an easy exam. I think Manvi has a good team. We have a team that will help you prepare for the SAT. We'll prepare you for the IELTS. And nowadays we are doing all the preparation online. So those who are in the 10th, this is the right time to start planning. As soon as your exams are over, take that 15 days break. And I would say that if you use your break between the 10th and 11th, or you use your break between the 11th and the 12th, that is the right time that you can do it without stress. Give it enough quality time. You don't have to do it twice. One of the biggest worry things I'm seeing is children are thinking, oh, first time is trial, then I'll do the second, and maybe I'll do a third. With an academic syllabus like yours, take it once, take it well. Mentally, don't even think. And we really do have brilliant teachers in India. Get in touch with Manvi or me. We will put you in touch with our teachers, and you can plan when you want to do it. I would advise you, even those who are in 11th want to start off this winter, that's also fine. It's just a trial. You don't have to be stressed about it. If you take time to do it, and we give you enough online, and luckily it's online, you don't have to go anywhere. Open your laptop and you're in a classroom. So some things good have come out. We've all learned technology. Believe me, it took me time, but I'm loving this Zoom. Imagine I'm sitting in Bombay and I'm reaching out to you. Would I have thought? I would have flown down and Kiran Man would have hosted me and we would have dinner together and we would have had 2 days together to do this same seminar. So some things good have come out of it, though I missed the travel. But the same thing with classes. Yes, you can let us know and we can conduct it for you. United States also, as you can see, is a huge canvas. Of course, you all have heard, by a show of, give me a thumbs up, NYU, Harvard, UPenn, Columbia, right? All of you have heard these names. But actually, there are more than 50 great institutions. And believe me, I have taught summer school at more than 22 institutions of America, and I find each one brilliant. Each one has a different flavor, a different, like you can't decide which fruit is your favorite. Can you ever decide that? Right? I can't. I seem to love all the fruits, all the all the different cuisines around you. So each university gives you a different flavor, may meet a different need. So don't get fixated on rankings. Ranking is a good way to start. Obviously, we want you to go to the best, but it should match your personality and what you want out of it. And most important, it should match your budget. Just to give parents who are in the room a quick heads up, most state universities are between $40,000 to $55,000, and private universities would go up to probably $80,000 per year. That's for tuition room and living. But again, you have a whole range to choose from depending on your budgets. We can help you plan. Of course, there are small, very small private universities with some as little as 10,000 total, first year, second year, third year, fourth year, everybody combined. So it's up to you what kind of environment suits you. As I say, counseling is not one hat fit all solution. That's why these webinars are important to us. And we want that you all start thinking, send us your questions. We are very approachable. And because that is what helps us to customize. A quick word, scholarships go to early application. This year, a lot of the universities, you won't believe, their priority deadline for scholarships was 15 September. And so we started actually in May with our current 12th. So by the end of 11th, actually, if you ask me the timelines, you should have finished your, of course, mark sheets on the table, your SAT, and your TOEFL or IELTS by May or June, end of 11th, so that you spend your summer, July, in thinking about your essays. And one of the questions is, do you need special classes? No, it's simple English. It's not creative writing, but I think it's crisp writing. It's not, oh, since I was a child, I loved playing with Lego, therefore I want to be a mechanical engineer. I've read that sentence so many times. That's the first sentence I delete. So if I've read it a million times, the officers have read it 10 million times. So you have to be not so cliche, uh, creative, interesting, crisp, to the point, content driven. If I can just give you 5 things. Does it sound difficult? Show of hands, is it really difficult? Yeah, if you find it difficult, yeah, that's why we are here. Manvi, what do you think?
I think it's a great strategy. I mean, otherwise we overthink our essays and we don't write it to the last minute because we are so afraid that, okay, what will I write? So I think that is right. Crisp and clear and to the point and not going around in stories. So definitely, thank you.
So that's summer after your 11th, thinking about it. So my favorite way is 10th exploration, 11th consolidation, 12th application. Clear? Very easy. Exploration, consolidation, that means leadership, excellence. And by the beginning of your 12th, August, you should be ready to put your thoughts on paper. Simple, very easy. It's not a rocket science. I will help you make it easy because I'm a psychologist. I feel it should be a stress-free, enjoyable process. You're doing life, you're making a new life for yourself. Why should you be so stressed? It's a joyful time. And the joy of thinking is, I think, expressed when you write. So I'm not going to really go into it. These are the different timelines for application. Just to reiterate that you need to think, what is it that you want to study? What are the deadlines? So this is how we help you. We make this chart for everyone. What is your admission cycle? Do you need standardized tests? What can we do to help you make a holistic resume or profile, right? That's our job. And I try my best that the team, we have trained them very well to make it stress-free. And a lot of conversation and dialogue. Actually, again, I'm grateful to technology that has made these conversations possible. We are sitting across the table with 80 people. I'm surprised. And, if I can imagine a big seminar room, I would not have had this eye contact with all of you, right? Even though I'm speaking to a big black screen, but I hope you can hear me. I hope you can see me. And I hope you can read what we have written so that there is a little bit of a one-on-one feel to this conversation. And we are happy to do more question answers. Canada actually is emerging as a current favorite with many parents. Children may still be, my sibling, my cousin, my uncle, I visited him. I think he's got a grand lifestyle. But I think more and more, Canada is emerging because it's an equally good, high quality education. And it is giving you 3 years work visa, and it is also allowing you an opportunity to stay back. So if you're looking at undergrad, you're looking at a return on investment, you're looking at a country which gives you some kind of opportunity, maybe you consider it. It's not a compulsion, but it's my job to open your mind to more than what you came to this seminar for. Again, common myth is, oh, Canada is very cold. I wanted to show you this because actually, if you see, it's a borderline of America. And so if you're thinking Michigan, Ann Arbor, Minnesota, Twin Cities, Boston here, New York here, the climate is the same. So a Toronto climate and a Boston and a New York climate is identical. So yes, I'm chilled. I feel chilled all the time. So I prefer Vancouver. So you have British Columbia, Simon Fraser in Vancouver, which has the same weather as California. So you have choices and you don't need to go way up north. If you keep yourself in this belt, it's pretty much weather like north of America, and they have a lot of scholarships to offer. They are known for their co-op program and very, very employable market. They want 400,000 more people in their, so could be a choice. So again, the good thing about Canada is they are all state universities. They are all controlled by the government, and the government sets the fees. So there's no real debate on that, on the quality, completely monitored by the government. But yes, the tuition fee varies from as low as $20,000 a year. I'm talking tuition fee, to as high as $60,000 a year in Toronto, and these are Canadian dollars. So again, if I just look at a quick summary of these two countries, because they are similar in nature, similar in the flexibility, similar, many ways similar, except that Canada, the good news for all of you, does not need the SAT. The bad news, but I think Kiran ma'am, and again, we are on the same page, it needs academics. It doesn't want an elaborate resume. If you have academics, you are good to go, right? So think about it. And United Kingdom, there was a small cohort which said they would like to see. So British education, very similar to India, needs you to decide what you want to do before you go. There is no exploration there. So if you want chemical engineering or finance or economics or business, media, actuarial science, you need to apply for the course you want to apply. You cannot change your mind. The good thing is, again, only marks. So if you have it, we can happily help you do a quick application and get there very fast. Australia, New Zealand are probably the new discoveries for me. I actually didn't know so much, to be honest, about Australia, New Zealand, because in 30 years, large majority of our students went to US. But in last 3 years, I have taken teaching assignments over summer. At Australia, I taught at Sydney, one short summer program. And last summer, I did it in Canada at York University, just to get a feel so that when I talk to you and to parents, I can give you a real sense of what is the difference. Australia, hugely good. Again, all state universities, large sizes, beautiful campuses, very, very good people. There is a myth, oh, racism. You think Australia, you think racism. Canada, you think weather, harsh weather. So these are all stereotypes. Forget about them. You're young, keep an open mind, talk to people. There are a lot of Indians we met in Sydney and Melbourne, and all of them are brilliantly happy. You do have those odd cases of mugging or whatever, but that's, I think, petty crime. That happens on the streets of Mumbai, that happens in Delhi. So I don't know what would qualify as racism. I didn't experience it. Students I met, families I met, didn't really speak about it. but do your own homework. I wouldn't like to take the liberty to take such an important decision for you. So reach out to people if possible next summer. Go fly down. New Zealand is the only country which had not a single case of COVID in the last 2 months. I mean, they're so that's huge to speak of their healthcare, to speak of their discipline of life. Singapore, my favorite, close to home. I mean, as a parent, my daughter lives and works there. I love it. You know, you feel, oh my God, my child is near home. But Singapore is troublesome. It's very high on academic grades because the top three Singapore universities, NUS, NTU, and Singapore Management University, are probably as competitive as the best of India. Anything in Asia, actually. We are serious academic people, and our population is very serious. So we create the competition for ourselves. But of course, there are many private universities in Singapore. So if you feel you want to go there for the atmosphere of it all, for being near home, yes, there are choices. Hong Kong used to be one of the very favorite places, Hong Kong HKSTU and Hong Kong University, especially for its engineering programs, pure sciences, and they gave wonderful scholarships. I used to love it for my scholarship students, but because of the current political crisis, I think it's avoidable unless you have family and friends there who you feel are important. And this is the undiscovered secret of Asia. Did you know Dubai is emerging? People think Dubai, and what do you think? Shopping, right? The minute you think Dubai, you think shopping. Well, the secret I'll share with you is that Dubai has opened its doors to inviting universities around the world to its knowledge hub, to set up its campuses, to educate students. And you know, BITS Pilani in India is probably impossible to get or extremely selective. But do you know BITS Dubai is easier to get? Same quality of education, same faculties, same coursework, and the same degree. So sometimes Manipal, Dubai, I went to see Manipal in Dubai, BITS in Dubai, and there was a whole knowledge academy. There was American International University. There were British universities, Strathclyde, Middlesex. There was American universities there, Wollongong of Australia. So Dubai is again for those who feel, look, I want to be near home. I don't want to go very far. And I still want to be international. It's cost effective and very Asian, but so if you're happy to be near home, I think sometimes Dubai is as good as studying in Bangalore, Chennai, or Shivnagar. So think about it. If it's important to you, there is an opportunity for you to go there. Europe, I left it to the last because Europe is actually not so easy to decipher. So many countries, each country actually has its own range of universities, its own criteria of selection. Only thing I would advise you is that if you're choosing Europe, do your homework properly and try and learn the local language. Most of Indians go to Ireland in Europe, which is the English speaking country of Europe. So it would have, what should I say, Trinity College Dublin, University College Dublin, beautiful place, very, very friendly people. And we share a common history with Ireland, actually. They were also under the British rule for many years before they became independent. And to give you a fun fact, their current prime minister is of Indian origin. So as an Indian, I was so happy. I was welcomed everywhere. So I was like, oh my God, you know, I wear a sari for a conference, and so many people came up to say namaste to me. That felt really good. So we have a shared history with Ireland. It is an English speaking country. Netherlands, the Delft College is brilliant. ETH in Zurich. very well known. Germany known for its automobile engineering, automation. France for its, fashion. Italy for its design, Marigoni, Naba. Uh, lot of, I mean, Europe is endless. I could again spend a whole session only in Europe because some courses have very low tuition fee. But the big but is they are based on academics. And I would say you need to know the local language, at least if you are thinking Germany, then do at least 2 levels of German language. If you're thinking France, then do at least 2 levels with the Alliance Française. Again, if you need help with that, get back to us because it's not possible to cover the whole of Europe in one seminar. I can actually devote because cost of tuition may be low, but then cost of living is high. Some are free courses, and if it was so free, the whole of India would be there, right? So there is a sort of what we call the fine print to doing things, and we can help you figure which part of Europe is appropriate for you. As I say, I just cannot end without India. I begin with India, I end with India, because I think that when you decide to go abroad, it should be out of choice. It shouldn't be because, oh my God, there's nothing for me here. So we try to give you a balanced explanation, a balanced guidance on shortlisting your university. This is how we help you. First, of course, your budget, why you're going. What is your country of choice? Do you want a job as the work profile, job placements? What is it that you're looking out for? Then we help you shortlist the universities and then maybe prepare you for the various entrance tests. Manvi is great at this preparation. She's very systematic. Oh, you need SAT, you don't. Everybody needs an IELTS, everybody needs a TOEFL. Let's test you. Let's find out which test works for you. So great things that we have. So we just say, look, we all are ambitious. And why not? If I'm paying that much money, why shouldn't I, think of going to the best? Only word of advice, yes, apply to the best, but apply to a few universities which are moderate and safe so that you have a choice. It's all about choices. And at the end of April, at the end of your 12th, your exams are over in March. By April, you'll get all the admits, and then you can sit back and decide what is it that works for you. And think about the factors that are important to you. Don't forget this seminar. I know enough about students that, okay, it's very, very important to me now. And after half an hour, I've forgotten what Pratibha said in the seminar, right? I know what you all are about. I have about 3 kids of my own and about 10,000 students who I deal with. So fine, I'm saying now, within the next half hour, sit with your family and decide. Send us your questions. Manvi, are we giving a free email advice to them? Can they write
Yes.
into us?
Yes. So we have a dedicated counselor for your school who can, you can schedule a one-to-one meeting or an email thing, and we will reply back to you. And it's, you can do it anytime. You can just put us an email and say that I would like a counseling. So, and we would, have a dedicated counselor get back to you on this.
Oh, great. So then, see, we are there, right? So I create sometimes a confusion with too much choices. Uh, but yeah, but I'm also happy to answer questions. So you can write into me, you can write to Manvi, you can write. So we are here to support you through this journey of decision making. It's not an easy because I think the process we are good at. Process is not a rocket science. We've made it a rocket science so that you think, oh my God, I need the EduAbroad team. Actually, it's easy. So we help you with a smile so that you want to come to us because you want a conversation with me, right? Uh, and so that's important for us that we have conversations with you, and so it's a fun process for all of us.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Jen. And I think so rightly said, it's all about, actually we just make you think, like, what are the possibilities? We are just actually picking your mind only to help you answer your question. So, Dr. Jen, I have a question here. So,
Yeah.
Kirti wants to know that if she wants to pursue music as an undergraduate degree, how good an option is that? And any schools in New York you can recommend for that?
So New York, you have NYU, which has the school dedicated to music and the performing arts. Within that, if you can't get New York, you have Fordham. Fordham is the smallest school known for its performing arts. And then you have Berklee College of Music, which is in Boston, actually. It's called Berklee College of Music, but it's not in California. It's in Boston, very famous for its music. But of course, it's Western music. Again, if you are looking at India, we have the A.R. Rahman School of Music in Chennai, which is doing a brilliant job. And we have True North I think, in Bombay. We have some good music schools in India as well. Depends on what kind of music you want. Is it music production? Then we have Point Blank in UK. You have to be more clear. Music is too big. I know I did my Visharad in classical music in way back, before even your parents were born, and we did Visharad while I was studying in college. So I don't think you have to leave a degree to do music. You can do both. It depends on what kind of music you want to do and at what level.
Perfect. So we have another question from Tanisha. I'm a US citizen. Should I do undergraduate in India or US? Will it be easy for me to get a scholarship?
Yes, for sure. For sure. If you are a US citizen, you are way ahead in line for scholarships. You are way ahead in line to get very easy interest-free loans, or at a very low interest. However, the competition remains high for you, so you really have to work hard for marks and for resume building and the SAT. So you will need all three. And the advantage you have is that as a citizen, after depending on where you want to live and work, you get tremendous opportunities for work, and there is no real criteria, and that really makes it good for you. And if you go as an undergrad, you build your support system. It really helps you become more job ready than when you go as a senior at a senior class.
Okay. Tanisha, does that help? Okay, we don't have a reply from her. Okay, there's another question here. How is University of Notre Dame in Indiana for doing a dual degree?
Oh, brilliant. Notre Dame is known as a liberal arts college, and it has an absolutely wonderful cohort, small, very small class sizes. When I did a session there, it was 20 to 30 students who attended. Was the dean said, oh, we have a very large assembly of students today. So the advantage is small class size, very interactive, and you will enjoy it. But
Okay.
again, it's very selective.
Right. So again, Dr. Jen, I have another question here. How important is it that a student should know which major they're applying to? Should they be clear, like, what they're interested in, or should they can just apply?
So for US and Canada, you can apply, but for other countries, you have to be absolutely sure. However, I'm still probably old school, where I feel that, it's like going to a buffet with 250 dishes. Sometimes, a very big buffet confuses you, and you end up going to your comfort food and picking up dal chawal. So if you have some idea, some structure, that, okay, I want to be a bioscientist, I want to be a media, I want to do literature, I want to be in global politics. It just helps you to make selections, because how do you choose your first 2 semesters out of 82 possible subjects? You can do anthropology, culture, gender studies, and that can be confusing if you don't know, am I adding up to an economics major? Am I adding up to a media? What am I leading to? What do I want to become? then the courses you choose can still be broad, but you get more structure to your application. And that's what I think. You can still explore, but
Okay.
exploring with the structure makes it more meaningful and it adds up to something at the end of 4 years.
Okay. Okay. I have another question here, ma'am. Which university is best for MBA?
MBA is at age 28, 26. There are about a
Right.
world. It will depend on how, which are you the best for that university. So long prescription for that. Marks of each semester, quality work, GMAT at 720, 740. So long way to go. And the good news is the MBA takes students from any discipline, anywhere.
Right. And Anuj, I think you should now focus on undergraduate degree. Like, what would you like to really do in an undergraduate? Because MBA is a long way to go. I mean, thinking about it, where you like to study right now in MBA, I think would be too far to dream of right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody
Ma'am, we
else
have
has any
another
other question?
question from Soham Singh. We have another question from Soham Singh. I want to do medical from US. How to plan for it?
Okay, so US medical is little bit different from anything else because US, you cannot do medicals, US and Canada, you cannot enter medical straight after the 12th. You would need to take the bachelor's degree in life sciences or biochemistry or health science. Once you graduate, then you have to take the medical entrance test, which is as tough as any other medical tests of the world, and then you go through an interview process, and then you get admission into the 5 year medical program. So after the 12th, you would look at 12 plus 9 years before you get your medical bachelor's degree, both in Canada and in US.
Okay. So we
I
have
hope.
another question. Yeah. Yes,
Please
Venkat,
carry
you.
on, ma'am.
So I hope that answered the question for you about MBBS.
Go ahead. Well,
Yeah.
your question.
Yeah. So I have a question here. How good is it to opt for editing as a career in abroad? Can you mention some universities for the same?
There is nothing called editing as a degree. The skills that you need to become a good editor are first reading, writing, and a love for literature. So, first, you have to do probably a bachelor's degree in English. You must be good yourself with a very high command of language. Only then will somebody trust you to edit their work. So, editing of two kinds, one of copyright, of English, so definitely a BA in liberal arts, being able to think and to write and read yourself is a critical skill. And you can also be editor of films, editor of videos, editor. So I would say either a literature degree or a media and communication degree. But you need to have a high command of language yourself first before you become an editor. And you can do that. I mean, literature and humanities is probably the most favorite and the most popular offering at every university around the world. So you can literally go anywhere in the world and do that degree.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I'll take the last question for the day. And here we have Punch asking, what can we do right now in class 10th to get into a good college? In class 10, should we focus more on academics or extracurriculars?
Academics, there's no debate on that. So my favorite way is balance it. During term time, focus on your academics. And during the holidays, plan it well. So yes, go for a break, go for travel, do what you like. But the holidays are long. And if you plan it properly, you can actually fit extracurriculars in that time or the weekends. So I would probably ask you to prioritize, look at academics first, because everybody is different. Some may need 6 hours a day, some may need 2 hours a day. And then look at the extra time you have. So instead of watching television or chatting with your friends on the phone, you can let us know what is it, how much time do you have on weekends, when are your holidays starting, so we can plan well in advance so that you use your holidays and free time for your extracurricular. And of course, school itself has so many things happening. Just be involved with school. You don't have to do things, so many things outside. School itself gives you opportunities for leadership, house activities, school events. Just participate. Everything is there inside school. You don't have to go, hunting for it.
So ma'am, Soham is asking further for the MBBS program. If I do my MBBS here and then should I go for my further studies in US?
Again, it depends on why and where. Currently, yes, Indian medical doctors take the US MLE, which is a very tough entrance exam. It has two parts to it. It has a written part and a professional experiential interview, which you have to fly down to America for. Once you pass that, you can do your residency there or your MD there.
Thank you,
I hope
Dr.
Soham,
Jain.
you are clear with your doubt.
Yeah. So the question can go on. I would like all of you to keep writing to us. Thank you so much, Kiran ma'am, for making this possible for us. Your feedback
Yes.
is been useful for your parents and student body. And what do you think we can do better?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Jain. Thank you, Kiran ma'am. We would love a feedback from the students. And also, I think Vineet has put it in the chat. If anybody would like to schedule a one-to-one meeting, they can fill up the form and we can get back to you on that. And any questions also you can put us through email. You already have Dr. Jain's email ID as well, counselor@pratibhajain.com, and you have my email ID as well, manvi@edu-abroad.in. So you can write to us at any time.
Yeah.
And I think it was nice.
Student in
Yes.
the audience who would like a last question? Anyone at all?
So yes, ma'am. So there is a question called as like which is the best university or like which all are the best universities for the commerce?
Well, every single country has the best. So there is nothing called best in the world. So like India, you have Delhi University. I'm Bombay, so I feel, oh, my Bombay University is the best. People from Punjab think Chandigarh University is the best. So it depends on where you want to study. In every city, in every country, there are special rankings, and you can, depending on your marks, we can help you place in the country of your choice.
Okay, Dr. Jain, I have another question here. Should we pursue CA from abroad?
No, I think CA is best done in India. We are the only country in the world where you can combine the CA exams with the BCom, provided you join a BCom program that ends every day at 10:30. So Bombay University allows you that. So yeah, I think if you want to be a CA, you need to be compliant with Indian laws. Therefore, doing it in India is the best choice.
Perfect. Okay, I think one last question we can take. We have another one. If I don't study biology in class 11th and 12th, can I study in a university abroad?
Of course you can. Depends on what you want to study. So if you want engineering, you need to do physics, chemistry, maths. If you want to do biomedical engineering, only then you need physics, chemistry, maths, and biology. If you want to do life sciences, then you need biochemistry, maths. So it depends on what you want to study and which country. Unfortunately, like Canada even for biochemistry needs a maths, whereas America doesn't. So each country has a different permutation. If you want to study biochemistry in India, you need physics, chemistry, biology. You may drop the maths. So like that, each country has its own configuration requirements. So you need to know what you want to study and which country actually. Then I can advise you better.
Fine. Thank you so much for such an interesting session, Dr. Jain. And thank you, DPS School, for hosting us and calling us. We look for a good next session too. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you all for being here.
These are the contact details. If anybody would like to get in touch with us, you can please note it down.